As I think about even the genesis of how the work in Fairfield even came to be, Urban Hope, years ago, sitting around the room with a group of pastors praying and asking the Lord where would he have a new church started. One of the brothers stood up and said, we can't go over here, which is where I thought we should go. We need to go to Fairfield. I said, well, why Fairfield? He said, well, look at the ways that God is at work. And look at all the people that God has saved and yet to save in that community. And we're seeing that bear fruit in tremendous ways, especially here.
Urban Hope is a church plant of the PCA where we are endeavoring to bring the purity of the gospel and what it is to the poorest of the poor, urban poor communities, to bring a gospel movement, not a social justice gospel, not a woke gospel, but a gospel of Christ that transforms men and women, boys and girls into who they are truly been called to be.
Our church building is right in the heart of the downtown area of the community, right across the street from City Hall. But this community is one that's broken. There's lots of poverty, there's lots of crime, violence, and so there's lots of brokenness. And really much of the brokenness stems from a disconnect with people from their creator, first and foremost, but then it fleshes itself out in brokenness in the families. And so that's one of the major things that we see. If you go around and look through our communities, you see lots of abandoned houses, lack of business and commerce, just an overall deterioration in the infrastructure of the community. And the number one cause is the brokenness in the family. Fatherlessness is prevalent in this community. I was at a meeting with children. It was actually one of the initiatives that we have here at Urban Hope is called You Hope Success, where we go into the school system during the summer with middle school age kids. And so I was meeting with these middle school age kids, talking to them, sharing some of my story, and I did ask them if anyone in the room had celebrated Father's Day with their father, and no one raised their hands. And so that was a group of about 30 students. And so that's just one of the major realities in this community. It was a reality for my life personally. I was not raised by my father. My father was absent. And so I understand that on a personal level, and the outworkings and how that affects an individual and affects a family.
I made it in my mind as I was going to plant this church that we was going to have an undeniable focus on young men. I'm trying to get strong biblical men who will love their wives and their children, and therefore the community, and therefore the church. It's harder to reach young men in these urban communities. They bring a plethora of issues, lack of education, joblessness, lack of understanding basic authority, whether it be from the police, the teacher, or pastor. They grow up in fatherless homes. There's so much that comes out of that. And so in my mind, in my heart, I asked the Lord, it's gonna be a long haul. This is a generational work, but I'm not going to jump off ship because it's not easy. And so we just went after men from every direction, from every angle.
One of the major things that Urban Hope has done to reach the community is make and build relationships in some of the institutions that are already present here in the community, such as the school system. Pastor Alton, our planting pastor, he immediately on the ground when he got here went into the school system to build relationships with the administrators. They accept us because we come in serving. We come in saying, how can we serve you? How can we come alongside the needs that you have and meet those to the best of our ability by the grace of God? And when we come in serving, that opens the door to speak truth. That opens the door to build those solid foundational relationships that we need in order to have the freedom and the avenues to speak truth, to speak the word of God.
We have an intensive one-year program, a fellowship program here called Urban Hope Leadership Initiative, where we're looking to develop young African American men to step into leadership. We bring in men from all over the country to be able to come and stay with us here. We've got a loft apartment that we're finishing construction on right now that's next door to our church building, and so we have capacity for about 8 men to be able to live up there at any given time. We put them through a one-year intensive program here where they're a part of everything we do, and they're participating with our staff and our pastors and just learning firsthand about serving communities like Fairfield.
I said there is no way we can transform urban communities without really having a stick-to-itiveness to making disciples of people. Teaching them not some things, but all things that Jesus said He's commanded us to teach. So I couldn't skip over family, I couldn't skip over sexual ethics. You need preachers who are committed to the Word of God and discipleship to bring these truths of the Word of God to these communities where people are not even aware that marriage is better than shacking up. Marriage is better than just having multiple children by multiple people and having no understanding of how all of that works out to betterment of your community.
I actually lost my brother. My brother was a member here at this church. He and his family, he was married, and I lost him due to violence in this community. So I've experienced personal loss. There's just lots of pain and suffering and death. Honestly, that's just kind of always constantly hovering around. And so we really truly have the urgent disposition to share the gospel, to meet more than just the material and physical needs, but really get to the heart of the matter, which is the spiritual needs.